Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree and I'm Mr. Politics today because one of my supporters asked me to post about stuff, which I'm going to do. Next week, by the way, I'm going to be shooting. It's Elaine and my 40th wedding anniversary, and I'm also going to be on Coast to Coast. So it's going to be a busy week. We're shooting for 3 days next week as well. And so it's going to be active. And then after that, we go to Comic-Con and so on and so forth. But let's talk about what's going on in the political sphere. There was the military parade that Trump did, looking like Stalin, looking like many a dictator. You can say he was inspired by one in France, but again, who cares? Who cares? I mean, they're cutting food to children and they're spending all this money so tanks can parade in front of that guy. And robot dogs were there too. And I'm very concerned about the robot dogs because are they going to put machine guns on those robot dogs? Are those robot dogs going to be killing people? Are they going to be autonomous? These are upsetting thoughts. But on the good side, there was the No Kings protest, which I heard it was 11 million people all across the country, every single state. Elaine went to the one in West Hollywood. I was going to go too, but then there was a plumbing emergency, and so we divided and conquered. But I was certainly in support of it. And Elaine's sign read "Citizens, not subjects," which I thought was great. The one I was going to do was National Guard, Marines. You're on the wrong side. And I really want to get into that part of the equation because, the thing that's driving me crazy, particularly with the Democrats right now, is they say, well, they didn't let us into these buildings and we're legally authorized to go in and we're going to write really angry letters. We're going to write angry letters until they change their tune. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? If the law is on your side, enforce it. It's like, wait a minute. And there's, let me backtrack a little bit, okay? And again, this is just my opinion, and I know that the algorithm is going to find me and I'll end up in some, black site prison on God knows where, but, that's a shame, because I've actually thought about taking down Mr. Politics, because they're going after people, and they mean it, but I thought, well, if I take it down, then I'm part of the problem rather than the solution, and I'd rather be part of the solution. So okay, here we go. Let me give you a quiz question, okay? And then you can see what the answer is. So here we go. Let me give you an example, and you tell me whether it was Nazi Germany or the current regime. Okay, a gay man who's guilty of nothing more than being gay, never committed any other kind of crime, is seized in the wee hours by figures of authority who will not identify themselves, and he's spirited away to a prison in another country and held incommunicado, where he cannot reach out to his family, he cannot reach out to the lawyers. He is totally vanished into this place, and no one can contact him, and he is going to be there until he dies. And so is that Nazi Germany or is it America? The answer is it's both. It's both. And no due process, none of that stuff. So we don't want to be analogous to Nazi Germany, but we in fact are. Now, I don't say this lightly, because our government has taken people and put them in camps and held them against their will, and that was what happened to George Takei and his family in World War II. And so, injustice, it doesn't matter who's committing injustice. What matters is that you not commit injustice. And by the way, you know how you know the difference between vengeance and justice? Justice is when you actually go after the people who committed a crime and you arrest them and you try them and you convict them and you sentence them. Vengeance is where you indiscriminately hurt people who had nothing to do with it. And that's, so this is what we're seeing go on. And the moment that Tom Homan was calling immigrants criminals, I knew that he didn't just mean people who were gang members. I knew he meant, by his definition, everyone who was here illegally is a criminal. Whether you've been here 30 years, whether you've been here 20 years, whether you came as a little kid, okay. But this is not pursuing the law. This is pursuing racism, pursuing white supremacy, pursuing just evil. The American dream at its best is everyone is treated equally, everyone is welcome. Obviously you want to get murderers, rapists out of the country or in prison or wherever, but this is not, what's being done now is absolutely not right. And that's why 11 million people turned out in their various states and towns the other day. But here's my problem with all of this. My grandfather, of his family, he's the only one who survived, other than one aunt who made it to Argentina. Everyone else in his village was exterminated by Hitler. So having people come and take you away and you have no rights is not an impersonal thing for me. It's very personal. And during World War II, they didn't let Jews into America. They didn't save the 6 million people who were exterminated. And the reason was, whatever racism you want to say, whatever anti-Semitism you want to say, or pragmatism, political pragmatism. But whatever reason, America was on the wrong side of that equation. My grandfather, fortunately, deserted the Russian army in World War I, came to France, worked with the American army as a cook, and then came to America after World War I. So he was let in, and legally. And my mom was born here. So I think that you have to say to yourself, if you're a moral person, am I creating harm? Am I hurting people? Am I causing pain? Or am I helping people? And you may disagree with me, and that's okay. But I think what's missing on the other side of the coin, the other side of the equation, Trump and all of his interesting friends, what's lacking is empathy. So that they can see an American senator thrown to the ground, handcuffed. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They want cruelty. They want that's their brand. That's what they're doing: chaos and cruelty and self-interest. But here's where it's wrong, and here's what I want. I want the law to be respected and enforced. I think the big mistake is it's not being enforced. When Trump is taking bribes, when he's doing all the illegal things he's doing, he needs to be held accountable, as does every single person in his cabinet. And every single person taking actions that are illegal, knowingly taking actions that are illegal. If you're with a law enforcement and you refuse to identify yourself, and you refuse to identify the organization you're with, and you refuse to let people know how they can get their possessions back, etc., how they can reach their fathers, mothers, children, that's wrong. You're masked. Here's the thing. The guy who just killed and shot those politicians in Minnesota, he was disguised as a cop. Now, and he even came in a cop car, or a vehicle that looked like a cop car. So he was using color of authority, fake authority, to murder those people and wound those people. Well, when a group of people come up on you and they're in masks and they won't say who they are or where they're from, and they're just, they just grab you and hustle you into an unmarked vehicle, that could be ICE, or it could be people who just want to harm people, who want to hurt people. There's no way of knowing, and that's people should stop that. The congresswoman is now charged with hindering an arrest. That was an unlawful arrest. They should be charged with unlawful arrest under color of authority, because the governor of, or the mayor of Newark hadn't done anything wrong, and she was just trying to protect him from an illegal arrest. And the fact they threw out the charge, there was no charge. He hadn't trespassed. He'd done exactly what they had asked him to do. So here's where this goes to. I just wrote the mayor, and I just wrote Adam Schiff, who was my senator, and I said, here's my question. Everyone says that, or many people, AOC and many of the Democrats are saying, and Bernie, of course, wonderful Bernie, may he live forever, long may he fly. they say that every person being seized by ICE is being kidnapped and trafficked because there's no justification. It's roughshod. They aren't identifying themselves. They are not providing these people with due process. And in fact, they're going to people's hearings, telling the judge to cancel the hearing. These are asylum hearings, and taking those people away. So in other words, they're impeding. When people follow the rules, they're impeding people following those rules. Well, if this actually is illegal, what they're doing, what I was asking Karen Bass and what I was asking Adam Schiff is, well, why can't we have the police arrest ICE, these ICE agents? If they're actually doing something illegal, if they're actually kidnapping people and engaging in human trafficking, why can't they be stopped by law enforcement or the National Guard if Governor Newsom rightfully summons them, and stopped? Because just because men have guns doesn't mean they're on the side of good, and just because they are trying to grab someone in your neighborhood, that doesn't mean they should. They should have the right to. And if they are committing a crime, they must be stopped. This is why we have a democracy. This is why we have a government. I don't think anymore that anybody should be saying, well, they're breaking the law, but what can we do? I think it should be, they're breaking the law, and what can we do? And it's more than protesting, and it's more than complaining, and it's more than saying this is wrong. We have police, we have National Guard, we have people who are there to protect us from being harmed. And that's what needs to be done. And if someone refuses to do it, if law enforcement refuses to do it, then, we deal with that. But I think most people will want to be on the right side of this equation. I think a lot of the cops probably don't like the fact that their neighbors and their friends are being seized and disappeared. I think most people watch these terrible tragedies on television where you have daughters crying about their dads who were here for decades and suddenly are gone, or children, with cancer being sent out of the country because the mom, obviously, if she's not allowed to talk to anyone or call anyone or do anything, of course she's going to want to keep her children with her rather than having them be sent to where? A prison? She doesn't know. So we need humanity, we need empathy, we need compassion, we need action. So, if you're not doing something good, at least don't do something bad. And if you can do good, even in a little way, even in a small way. I mean, Elaine was there in '68 when the tanks moved in and the soldiers moved in and started killing people on the Poor People's March in Washington. She was there in her 20s. And now, here she is now, all these years later, 60 years later, still on the front lines. And I would be there too if I didn't have a plumber to call. But I'll be there next time, absolutely. And so anyway, that's it for now. This is Mr. Politics. I'll keep posting this stuff as long as someone wants me to post it. And sorry if I've been a little bit rambling. I'm tired because we're shooting and in prep and on and on and on. But it doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're depressed or overwhelmed by this stuff. You must help others. You must. Because those are your neighbors. Those are your fellow Americans. Whether they're citizens or not, they're human beings. They're your species. And we're only as safe as the kindness around us allows us to be. So that's it for now, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye, guys.